Good morning, everybody. Having gone through all those five things, now we are left with the most important one, I feel, that is nation and diversity. In it, the A reading is a small extract from Bharat Ratna, former President A.P.J.Abdul Kalam's biography, that is Wings of Fire. From that, a small extract. And the B reading is a poem. And the third one is nation and diversity. Now, let us switch to that A reading. Read the following extract from Wings of Fire. This Wings of Fire is the autobiography of Sri A.P.J. Abdul Kalam, our former president and Bharat Ratna, who is known as Missile Man of India. Where the former president of India speaks of his childhood. Here, in this A reading, he speaks of his childhood. My childhood. I was born into a middle-class Tamil family in the island town of Rameswaram in the erstwhile Madras state. Now Tamil Nadu. Before independence, as you know, we didn't have any states, provinces. Even our Andhra, Telangana, they are the parts of that Madras provinces, Bombay provinces, Kolkata provinces, like that. So he is from an island town. What do you mean by island town? It is an island and town. It is an island town like island nation, which is, that is Singapore. This island town, Rameswaram, he was born in. Okay, that was in erstwhile Madras provinces. My father, Jainulabdeen, had neither formal education nor much wealth. His father's name was Jainulabdeen. He had neither formal education nor much wealth. But he did, in fact, give them a nice and good, fruitful parenting. Despite these disadvantages of not being formally educated and being wealthy, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. He was innately wise and possessed generosity of spirit. Spiritually, he was generous. He had an ideal helpmate, soulmate, life partner, better half, his wife. My mother, Ashiamma. Mother's name is Ashiamma. So, you have to remember these names. A good number of names we would come across. Father Jainulabdeen, mother Ashiamma, and the narrator, that is Avul Pakir Jainulabdeen Abdul Kalam. I don't recall the exact number of people she fed every day. In their house, in his childhood, that hospitable woman, Ashiamma, Kalam's mother, used to feed many people. In fact, Kalam couldn't remember the exact number of people she fed. But I am quite sure that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our family put together. If I put all the members of my family together, more than them, the outsiders would come and have their meals in our home. I was one of the children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks, born to a tall and handsome parents. My parents were handsome and tall. To such tall and handsome parents, I was born, but I didn't have much distinguished looks. What do you mean by distinguished looks? It means if we look at him once, okay, so we don't feel, okay, so to look at him twice as far as his physical features are concerned. That is the meaning of distinguished looks. Though he was born to a handsome and tall couple. We lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. In that ancestral house, it means inherited from their grandparents and all, in that, which was built in 18th century, they lived in. It was a fairly large Pakka house. Pakka house means, okay, it can withstand these climatic change conditions and all, okay. like severe rain and cold conditions. Pakka house, not kacha house, made of limestone and brick. Okay, those were not the days of concrete and all. So those bricks are what is given strength with this limestone and on the Mosque Street in Rameswaram. My austere, simple father used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. His father was very simple. Maybe his philosophy was simple living and high thinking. That simple living father, okay, didn't entertain any luxuries or inessential items. However, this is a linker. However, okay, that doesn't mean that we suffer from poverty and all. No doubt, okay, I enjoyed my childhood, he says. All necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine or clothes. But in terms of basic necessities, this food, shelter and clothes, okay, we were well taken care of by our parents. In fact, I would say mine was very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. In fact, my childhood is both secure, both emotionally and materially. What do you mean by materially? He didn't face any problem regarding the basic necessities like food and all, clothes, shelter, but emotionally he feels that his childhood was secure. As he was born into a large family, and that he took the advantage, or he was having that advantage in having born in that large family, being supported not only by parents, grandparents, maybe paternal grandparents also, maternal grandparents also, uncles, aunts, cousins. So in that way, being supported emotionally by this extended family, his childhood was, he says, both materially and emotionally secure. The Second World War broke out in 1939 when I was 8 years old. When he was 8, the Second World War that started in 1939 and ended in 1945, it broke out. For reasons I have never been able to understand as a grown one also, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds, chintapikkalu, so erupted in the market. Erupted means raised. The demand for these tamarind seeds increased, raised or erupted suddenly in the demand in the market. But Kalam, even after growing up also, as a grown one also, couldn't understand why that demand was. But there was sudden eruption for the tamarind seeds. I need to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Mosque Street. As a child, he used to collect as many seeds as possible and would sell them to that provision shop. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. Princely means very small amount. A day's collection from morning to evening, if he collected those tamarind seeds and by selling them to that provision shop, he would get 1 anna. Of course, 1 anna also in those days a good amount of money. 1 anna means that 6 paise. 16 annas make 1 rupee. In those days, 1939 World War broke out. So 8 years old. So he was born in 1931. So in 1940s, that 1 anna 6 paise is a good amount. Okay, but he says that is the princely amount he got from that provisional shop owner, to whom he would sell his day's collection of those tamarind seeds. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin, a third character has come. His brother-in-law, that is Jalaluddin, would tell me stories about the war, that is Second World War, that was going on across the world, which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines in Dinamani. Dinamani is nothing but like our Nadu, Andhra Jyoti, or Sakshi newspapers, a Tamil daily. By reading or referring to that Tamil daily Dinamani, this child Abdul Kalam, okay, whatever he wanted to know further, okay, regarding that war and all, so he would read from that newspaper Dinamani after being briefed a little by his brother-in-law, that is Jalaluddin. Our area being isolated was completely unaffected by the war, as he was from that island town Rameswaram. The area was isolated, so it was not initially much affected by this war. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces. As you know, okay, you all might be knowing about Second World War. Okay, these allied forces, that is America, Russia, France, okay, this group, as we were a British colony, so no doubt, okay, this British government asked Indians to support them during Second World War. So India was forced to participate in that Second World War, aligning with those or on the behalf of those allied forces. And something like a sense of state of emergency was declared. Okay, suddenly that unaffected area, okay, started experiencing a sense of emergency. The first casualty came in the form of the suspension of the train halt at Rameswaram state. Casualty means the affected one. The first badly affected thing happened was the train that used to stop at Rameswaram railway station. Okay, that train now its halt was suspended there. Why he mentioned this? Because his cousin Samshuddin, he used to do this paper vending business, and that paper Dinamani and all those paper bundles would come in that train, and they would be unloaded there, okay, on the Rameswaram platform. And picking those bundles, this cousin Samshuddin would do that newspaper business. As this halt suspended there at Rameswaram temple, now those newspaper bundles, without being unloaded there at Rameswaram, now they are going forward. So what actually happened was, those newspaper bundles, they used to throw through the windows onto the platform, and they would spread over somewhere around 400 to 500 meters, okay, so long, the platform and the other areas. Those newspaper bundles were to be picked up. To pick those newspaper bundles, thrown out newspaper bundles, certainly that business man, that Samshuddin, required a help. There he sought the help of Abdul Kalam, and there he filled the slot, he says. There I was set, and that Samshuddin, he didn't avail of his services freely. No doubt he paid little amount of money as wages, remembering which this Abdul Kalam, after becoming president also and Bharat Ratna also, throughout his life, okay, and in every seminar and in every meeting he would mention now and then, and he remembered that first wages, which made his heart swell with pride, because he was doing something, okay, on his own for himself. So certainly such type of activity no doubt would give not only to Kalam, to anyone, a good confidence and courage that is highly required to face this very notorious hard world. So such pride he was having in his heart whenever he remembered, even after growing up also. So that's why he mentioned this Rameswaram railway station halt and all. So let us see. So the newspaper now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train onto the Rameswaram road between Rameswaram and Dhanushkoti. That forced my cousin Samshuddin, okay, who distributed newspapers in Rameswaram. So he was distributing newspapers in Rameswaram. Who? His cousin Samshuddin, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles. And as if naturally, I filled the slot. What do you mean by filled the slot? My cousin Samshuddin required a helping hand there. Okay, so I offered my help. So that is the meaning of fill the slot. Samshuddin helped me earn my first wages. In that way, Samshuddin helped him, that is Kalam, earn his wages. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. Even after half a century later also, he could very well feel that pride in his heart whenever he remembered that first wages. Every child is born with some inherited characteristics into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment. No doubt, every child is born into a particular, not only into a particular family, but that family background, like a social background, environmental background, emotional background, financial background. Not that we are born into a family, or not that we are born to some parents. We are born into a family, in turn we are born into a particular specific socio-economic environment, emotional environment too. Fortunately, okay, he was born into a good socio-economic, emotionally nurtured environment and trained in certain ways by figures of authority. Figures of authority means these parents and grandparents, whoever are there, elders, they are the figures of authority. No doubt children, as children, we are all influenced by these figures of authority. I inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father. So from his father, he inherited honesty and self-discipline. And from my mother, I inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness. And from his mother, faith in goodness and deep kindness. And so did my 3 brothers and sister. It means my other 3 brothers and sister also inherited these good qualities, okay, from my parents. From father, that is honesty and self-discipline. From mother, that is faith in goodness and deep kindness. She was deeply kind. Okay, she had faith in kindness. Okay, she is faithfully kind. So you must be able to give the sentence with the other parts of speech also. Okay, for example, deep kindness, that is noun. Her quality was deep kindness. So she was deeply kind. Okay, in that way, so we should be able to give sentences in as maximum ways as possible. In if at all you want to learn good English, okay, either to speak or write also. So anyway, deep kindness, and so did my 3 brothers and sister. So did, what do you mean so did? So did my 3 brothers and sisters also inherit these wonderful qualities, that faith in goodness, self-discipline and deep kindness and all these things, honesty. Okay. I had 3 close friends in my childhood. In his childhood, he had 3 close friends, Ramanatha Sastri, Aravindan and Sivaprakashan. So as I told you, so please remember these characters. His close friends were Ramanatha Sastri, Aravindan and Sivaprakashan. All these boys were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. That is the beauty of this country. A Muslim boy had very close friends, but those 2-3 close friends were from Orthodox Brahmin families. So we should not entertain all those narrow feelings and all, okay, regarding religion or any other social barriers. So as children, none of us ever felt any difference among us ourselves because of our religious differences and upbringing. Because of our upbringing or because of our religious upbringing, the way I was brought up in my Muslim family, okay, so going to church and all, the way they were brought up in their homes by going to temples and all, these religious differences are upbringing. It means the way they are brought up. These things didn't bring any differences amongst these 4. One is a Muslim boy and the remaining they are Hindu boys and Orthodox Hindu Brahmin boys. But that religious differences or upbringing didn't interfere in their friendship. In fact, Ramanatha Sastri was the son of a Pakshi Lakshmana Sastri, the high priest of Rameswaram temple. Not only was he an Orthodox Brahmin boy, his father, Pakshi Lakshmana Sastri Garu, so he was the chief priest, main priest of that Rameswaram temple. Later, when they finished their studies, okay, he took over, who? Ramanatha Sastri, the priesthood of Rameswaram temple from his father. Aravindan went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims. As you know, Kasi to Rameswaram, okay, so that is what normally we hear in this spiritual country. Arranging some transport arrangements and all to those pilgrims, he settled in his life. Who? Aravindan. Now left with Sivaprakashan. Ramanatha Sastri already took over that priesthood from his father. And Sivaprakashan became a catering contractor. Catering means so arranging these food items and all. Catering contractor for the Southern Railways. So after that, what the second part is? Okay, let us see the second part. So in that way, in this extract, Abdul Kalam, he is sharing with us in what way his childhood had influence in his future life. In what way all those people, including Orthodox Brahmin boys and including their parents, we will come to know in the second part. As you all know, the episode that happened in their classroom, and after that what Ramanatha Sastri did to that new teacher and all. In what are all the ways, okay, his childhood shaped his future life as a missile man of India and President of India and Bharat Ratna. So let us see in the second part. Thank you so much. Take care.